so look how crazy this is. We landed here, no one's here. I called up a phone number and he said, oh, here's the code to get a key. He gave me that key. And then he said, oh, then you go out to this box out here and on the fire extinguisher, we hit a key. So we're doing that. And then to pay for it, he's like, just go in and write down your information and I'll email you and your credit card. So it's good that we're people you can trust, but it's kind of nice to have people that trust you too. Only in Iowa, I guess, probably.
You had it inside, right?
Yeah. All right, so don't know if you can tell by the wonderful farmland behind me. We flew for like 2.5 hours over crappy weather, but here we are in Iowa, of all places, and we landed in the airport, which is beautiful, by the way, just sitting up on a hill. Except for when we got there, no one was there, and called a nice guy on the phone, and basically we did everything ourselves. We know where all the hidden keys are now, for the front door, for the gas tank, and for the car. So we're taking one of their courtesy cars, which is courtesy if you buy gas, and we bought 69 gallons of Jet A positive, and of all places I checked in this car for a key, it was in the CD slot, so with a tiny little ring hanging out. So here we are, we're gonna go to Subway and probably fly another 400 miles, hopefully, maybe 500. All right, we landed, it's like 40 knot winds, and we almost got to 60 knots. We were like at 57, 58, and we flew sideways all the way to Fort Collins. But it handled it fine, it just didn't feel right. It's like gale force winds over these mountains. And my speed indicator, when I flipped around, went to 0, even though we were going 70 knots into it. When I flipped around, it just dropped to 0. I can't even maintain directional control with the wind. We were getting hit so sideways, and we're on the low ground right now. We only got to go up from here. I don't know if it's just like this. It's gonna pass, like a morning transition right now, but it's not gonna do it right now. So we just set down in the middle of the field. Get away. This is like the whole line of the silence. I do just need to fly maybe like 10 miles that way, but I'm telling you, and it could be okay, but just even 10 seconds of not being able to control a helicopter's directional control is 10 seconds way too long. It's good. I have a candy bar and a Coke. See? See, just one of those is enough to like...
I want to relax.
The lower to the ground you get, the better the wind, but because it gets super, super bad. Just like another... When we were flying out of here, it was like 12 knots at our tail. We go up 100 feet and it goes like 12 knots at our head. Another 100 feet, it's like 22 knots. And then like another 100 feet, 37 knots. So, I mean, you just want to stay low, but with this wind, I don't want to be so close to the ground we smack it either. Our plan is going to be to fly into the wind, get like 80 knots speed, and then do a U-turn so I don't go back to 0 airspeed. And then just try to keep this thing straight and level and not hit the ground. It's gonna be like at least a 10-minute ride though. It's just bad all the way down. If somehow we could get around the Rockies, it'll all go all the way down to Albuquerque though. It's not far. It's actually not too bad. It's 350 nautical miles. And that's far because that's 600 miles by the time we come back home.
Yeah.
But that's another 6 hours if we could either sit at a hotel for 6 hours or fly for 6 hours.
I'd much rather fly, but I'm not paying for fuel, so.
Trees are dead. You wanted a window, you got one.
Warning, terrain, terrain.
There's 60 knots. Making a turn. We were severely depressed this morning when the winds were around 50 knots coming over all of the Rocky Mountains. Over like a 300-mile north to south. And this helicopter would not. I don't know if the helicopter could handle it, but I could, and I wasn't willing to because I couldn't keep this thing straight just with those downdrafts coming down the mountain. So we hung out in the field for a solid hour, maybe an hour and a half. Got a small window, and we got really busy going through Denver, and we went all the way down to the New Mexico border, and then ran that border all the way to Durango, Colorado, and then finally the wind just died and everything became smooth, and we got the most wonderful ending to a otherwise rough trial by fire on this helicopter delivery. So we got to see 2 Pinnacle Point landings on big sandstone buttes with clouds wisping around us. Anyway, crossing America in a Bell 505 has been nothing short of adventurous, and I think that's kind of what the whole goal of this was. So, welcome to Utah.